Good afternoon. My name is Neelam Misra, the President of Associated Students of Idaho State University. It is my pleasure to welcome you today as we celebrate Idaho State University and the inauguration of our new university president, Dr. Robert W. Wagner. As a student body president, I am honored to be part of this event today. This inauguration is not just a ceremonial event as we welcome new leadership. It is a day that marks the beginning of a new journey of Idaho State University. The students and Bengal community of ISU are excited to have President Wagner to join us and lead us into the future. We know that his leadership will inspire us to reach new heights and encourage us to push the intellectual boundaries of what is possible. Together, we can create an environment that nurtures the academic success, growth, and well-being of every student. Thank you to the members of Idaho State Bengal Nation, including our amazing faculty, staff, and alumni who are with us today, both in person and remotely. And thank you to the many community, educational, and government leaders and friends of ISU who are here to support our great institution. It is now my pleasure to introduce Dr. Amanda Zink, Vice Chair and Professor of English.
Thank you, Neelam, and thank you to everyone joining us today. I will be reading Idaho State University's Institutional Land Acknowledgement. Acknowledging native lands is an important way to honor and respect Indigenous peoples and their traditional territories. The land on which Idaho State University's Pocatello campus sits is within the original Fort Hall Reservation boundaries and is the traditional and ancestral home of the Shoshone and Bannock peoples. We acknowledge the Fort Hall Shoshone and Bannock peoples, their elders past and present, their future generations, and all Indigenous peoples, including those upon whose land the university is located. We offer gratitude for the land itself and the original caretakers of it. As a public research university, it is our ongoing commitment and responsibility to teach accurate histories of the regional Indigenous people and of our institutional relationship with them. It is our commitment to the Shoshone-Bannock tribes and to ISU citizens that we will collaborate on future educational discourse and activities in our communities. Please join me in welcoming the Shoshone-Bannock High School dance troupe to the stage. The Shoshone-Bannock dance troupe was started 3 years ago by student Kilai Sosi. He wanted to bring his culture and dances to the community and educate others. You can hear them coming, I think. The dance troupe is under the direction of Kara Sosi. Each dance style has a specific meaning and story behind it. The dancers showcase the different styles of dance. The women perform the traditional, jingle, and fancy dance. The male dancers represent traditional, grass, fancy, chicken, and woodland dance. Some of the dancers have been dancing since they could walk, and some are just starting to learn. They are accompanied today by the Ghost Canyon Singers. Enjoy.
Hey!
Sharing this space with the Siouxban tribes is truly one of my favorite parts of working here at Idaho State University. And now, I'm privileged to introduce Dr. Linda Clark, President of the Idaho State Board of Education. President Clark has been a key leader and visionary for education in Idaho and a great friend and supporter of Idaho State University.
Good afternoon. In 1901, Idaho State University, known then as the Academy of Idaho, hired its first president. 123 years later, we are gathered here to formally welcome Idaho State University's new president, Dr. Robert Wagner. ISU has a wonderful legacy and tradition, beginning with 4 educators and 40 students just 11 years after the state of Idaho itself was established. Today, 5 name changes later, Idaho State University is a premier Idaho institution of higher learning, serving more than 14,000 students in 250 plus programs across 7 colleges and multiple campuses. That, folks, is a true story of success. Dr. Wagner, you have spoken publicly about how higher education transformed your own life. And I can tell you that your personal story made an impression on me personally and on my board colleagues. We are highly confident in your abilities to inspire and help students transform their own lives here at ISU. On behalf of the Idaho State Board of Education, I formally welcome Dr. Robert Wagner as president of Idaho State University. I attest our confidence in you and pledge our support as you strive to perpetuate the tradition of excellence that has been Idaho State University's hallmark in the past and the aspiration for this outstanding institution's future. Idaho State University has been on a roll since we last welcomed a president to this campus 5 years ago, and we fully expect that momentum will continue and build under Dr. Wagner's leadership. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the 14th president of Idaho State University, Dr. Robert Wagner.
This is truly an honor. First, before I begin, I would like to express deep gratitude and appreciation to all of you who are in attendance here this afternoon. But specifically, I would first like to recognize and thank my wife, Tracy, and my family who are seated just right over here. I would also like to recognize and thank Idaho State Board of Education President Dr. Linda Clark and Idaho Superintendent of Public Administration Debbie Critchfield for being here, as well as esteemed members of the Idaho State Legislature, leaders and members of the Shoshone-Bannock tribes, Idaho State University Foundation Board, and alumni board members, Idaho State University alumni and friends, Idaho State University faculty, staff, and students at all of our campuses, my fellow ISU administrators, community members across the state, and administrative colleagues at neighboring institutions. Thank you all for being here this afternoon. When I was an undergraduate student, I worked at the campus laundry. For 2 years, I drove a laundry truck around campus from 5 a.m. to 9 a.m., making pickups and deliveries. One early fall night, there was a terrible windstorm that hit the area. As the sun began to rise the next morning, I was one of the first student workers to drive around campus. I was so surprised by the number of fallen trees across the beautiful campus. However, what surprised me even more was when I looked closely at the roots of the trees that had fallen. Most of the trees, even the most mature trees that had been on campus for decades, had very small roots. The diameter of the root balls were noticeably weak, making me conclude that the reason why the trees had blown down in the wind was that the root systems had not stretched and reached far enough into the ground to secure the trees. Even at that young age, the analogy didn't escape me. Without strong roots that reached out for water and nutrients, the trees weren't secure and prepared for a future of change, drought, storms, and other adversity. This reminds me of a quote by author B.H. Roberts. "The oak grows slowly, but every year adds something to its size. The winds which beat upon it only fix its mighty roots deeper in the earth and increase the strength of its fiber. And at last, in spite of slowness of growth, in spite of howling tempest and the thunderbolt, the grand oak stands monarch of the forest." When I think of Idaho State University, I imagine the grand oak standing tall in southeast Idaho, invisible across the state. Its strength and majesty lies not in the ease and simplicity of its 123-year history, but in the challenging, daunting, and sometimes precarious years of its institutional journey. In 2026, ISU will celebrate its 125-year anniversary. As I have come to learn of its history, I marvel at its resilience, much like the iconic Swanson Arch that still stands firm and strong as a symbol of the institution. From its inception as the Academy of Idaho in 1901 to its progression as the Idaho Technical Institute, then the University of Idaho Southern Branch, which then became Idaho State College, and finally its arrival as Idaho State University. Each of these episodes represents the institutional roots of a majestic oak tree that are reaching out to embrace a new identity, expanded mission, and new opportunities. It is important to emphasize the growth of its roots to truly appreciate where it has come and its potential institutional reach. In 1951, during its Golden Jubilee, history professor Merrill D. Beal wrote of Idaho State College's first 50 years of existence. I believe his words about State Senator Theodore F. Turner's intentions in 1901 for a new academy in Idaho were prescient and deeply meaningful, considering ISU today and the nature of higher education. Professor Beal said, "The proposed academy should be the people's school, open upon an equal basis to all elements of society. In effect, it was to be a school at a crossroads for a cross-section of the populace. He, Senator Turner, hoped it would provide an environment free from bigotry and prejudice. The senator wanted an academy with character." Professor Beal's concluding thoughts are also befitting as a reminder to us all. He said, "When an educational institution indulges in reflections, it should realize its greatest satisfaction and fondest hopes in the consciousness that it has touched the lives of thousands helpfully and inspiringly. It is also expected that the appreciation and enlightenment derived from these reflections will illuminate a valued past and inspire a noble future." So what was the Academy of Idaho's future beginning in 1901? The first grouping of courses for the Academy of Idaho included college preparatory courses. The Academy was more of a high school at this time, including classical, scientific, and English. Industrial courses including commerce, domestic economy, mechanical arts, stenography, and typing. Seeing itself as a hybrid high school and trade school. Wanting to be more and witnessing a growing need in the southeast Idaho communities it served, the Academy stretched its root system to become a technical institute, growing and reaching out to include a more official vocational trade school and junior college status focused on the occupational majors for employment needed within the region. Areas of education expanded to engineering and agriculture. By 1925, the Institute was lobbying for four-year status as the region grew in educational and vocational needs. Rather than residents needing to leave southeast Idaho to pursue a four-year and advanced degree, the Institute became the University of Idaho Southern Branch to provide more educational opportunities locally. The first president of the University Branch campus in Pocatello stretched the roots of the institution even more when he declared the campus would focus on not just vocational, but cultural academic programs. He explained that with its expanding programming, its aim will be higher than before. Adversity had its impact with world wars, droughts, economic depression, and significant population and industrial growth. The winds beat upon the fledgling institution, but those events produced an even stronger will to survive and thrive. By the late 1940s, the Southern Branch transformed again, calling itself Idaho State College. The roots stretched as it continued to strengthen its presence, both physically and symbolically. Within the communities it served, it became a source of liberal arts education, artistic expression, while strengthening its already strong roots in the applied sciences and vocational education. It had created its Bengal identity. With growing student athletic programs and an institutional spirit of pride as a destination residential campus experience. Again, Dr. Beal opined about Idaho State College's strength of institutional character and impact. He said, "A good college exists for the students as an instrument to banish darkness, disseminate light, and function as an agency of service to the community, Commonwealth, and the whole wide world. Idaho State College will surely endeavor to vindicate this great democratic trust and to justify continued support in the future as it has in the past." The college would go on to achieve full and broad university status in the early 1960s. Solidifying and responding to the support of state legislators and local civic leaders with a growing and comprehensive array of academic programs. Its roots would extend to include research and even greater creative works. The ranks of faculty and staff grew to support the expanding depth and breadth of academic, economic, cultural, regional, statewide, and national impact. Its next 48 years would see Idaho State University's roots stretch deep into the communities and state with excellence in academic, research, and creative arts. Its current status as a Carnegie classified research, high research activity, doctorate granting university with over 250 programs across 7 colleges is expanding its academic reach with expertise in teaching, humanities, engineering, performing and visual arts, nuclear research, biological sciences, pharmacy, business, and a unique statewide mission to serve Idaho in health professions, medical education, and biomedical research, among many other programs. ISU is a modern-day, public, comprehensive residential research institution, but with its roots still firmly entrenched in the mission of vocational and professional education to serve a diversifying local, state, and national economy. With campuses now in Idaho Falls, Twin Falls, and Meridian, its roots have reached across the state with collaborative partnerships and stretched into Alaska and beyond. Truly reminiscent of B.H. Roberts' Grand Oak, that despite adversity stands monarch of the forest. I would like to pause at this point and acknowledge and honor a critical fact of history that cannot, nor should it be overlooked. During its 123-year history, Idaho State University has occupied the ancestral and traditional homeland of the Shoshone and Bannock tribal peoples. Their history, culture, and diversity were first to bless these lands with rich agricultural, cultural, population, and natural resource benefits. We thank them for being dedicated stewards of these beautiful lands and their continued presence as a reminder of the deep history they originated and we now share with them today. We honor their heritage by what Idaho State University has become in 123 years, owing its existence to their culture and presence for many, many years prior to its founding. As we consider Idaho State University today, the need for a strong root system has not diminished. In fact, the imperative to continue to extend and stretch our roots deep as an institution has never been more evident. The winds of adversity and challenges to our existence have not gone away. They've grown in intensity. The challenges related to dramatic economic uncertainty, global pandemics, changing demographics, political and cultural unrest, not to mention a diminishing confidence in the value of higher education, even publicly supported higher education, are beating on ISU as a grand oak. President Emeritus Freeman Hrabowski, longtime leader of the University of Maryland, Baltimore County, and higher education thought leader, wrote that there has never been a more important time for institutions to rely on and build their resiliency. For President Hrabowski, the stakes have never been higher. He said, "Our colleges and universities have important work to do. Higher education matters. The success of our nation depends on how we manage our higher education institutions in a 21st century that demands informed, educated, and thoughtful citizens, as well as a skilled and knowledgeable workforce that can drive our economy. We need educated people who understand our problems and opportunities, who create novel solutions. Student success matters. The importance of higher education to students and their families for economic success and social mobility has never been higher and will only increase in the future. For me, the winds of adversity and opposition open doors of opportunity and growth. Just as Idaho State University responded to changing conditions throughout its first 123 years of existence, it can surely rely on its strong root system, but cannot stop reaching out as new opportunities present themselves. When I began my tenure in January 2024, I witnessed an institution that had come a long way, with a storied history of dedication and contribution by its institutional community, including our wonderful faculty, students, and staff, and great alumni. And through impactful successes and significant challenges, ISU now has this new strategic plan with a focus on the values of integrity, inclusivity, shared responsibility, community, teamwork, and learning. Its institutional vision is to inspire passion for knowledge and discovery. Its mission is to engage students through learning and research opportunities that improve the intellectual vigor, cultural vitality, and health of our communities. ISU seeks to, number one, increase student success, student access, opportunity, retention, and success. Number two, strengthen programmatic excellence. Number three, cultivate external partnerships. Number four, expand research, clinical, and creative activities. And number five, energize the Bengal community. I believe this vision, with its mission and shared values, has led to goals that rely on ISU's deep root system and extend its reach of impact and influence. Even the strong headwinds of economic adversity and a pandemic have not stopped ISU from meeting its mission and goals. Let me outline a few. 3 straight years of enrollment growth, including an increase of over 300 students this fall alone. A 10.9% increase in student retention. 12% increase in endowment funds. A 56% increase in Bengal Giving Day funds raised. 9.7 million, or 48.5% increase in research expenditures. A 9.2 million, or 60% deficit reduction from FY 2024, and new and expanded academic programs while repurposing programs with less impact. In particular, I want to commend the institutional community for a budget optimization process that has not come without sacrifice and extra dedicated effort. As a community, the optimization process, including a hiring pause, has been impactful and will help the institution make up its budget deficit earlier than expected. This could not have been accomplished without the combined efforts of our faculty, staff, and students. To continue my analogy, ISU's root system is being fortified with strong financial principles of trust, transparency, and inclusivity in budget development and administration. As an institution, we are maximizing our resources and using data-informed decision-making that fosters stewardship, empowerment, and innovation. Over the last 5 months, it has been my pleasure to engage with faculty, students, staff, and other members of the Idaho State University community in a listening initiative I have called Bold Path Forward. The sessions have given me the opportunity to listen to members of our community, to learn from their perspectives about where we have been, where we are now, and where we want to go moving forward as a higher education institution. I would like to thank everyone who has contributed to this initiative in person or by sharing their perspectives online. As ISU continues to grow, we will be deliberate in our strategies and where we stretch our roots. I would now like to announce that ISU will shift to operate under a new framework, opportunity-aligned resourcing, or. Opportunity-aligned resourcing is a forward-thinking framework for strategic institutional growth and sustainability. Much like the rudder of a ship, OR is designed to steer ISU towards future goals by strategically aligning university resources with opportunities leading to mission accomplishment, or will be a collaborative process that integrates expertise throughout the university to plan for strategically optimized resource allocation, or will enable us to continue our institutional history and identity going back to the Academy of Idaho, the Idaho Technical Institute, the University of Idaho Southern Branch, the Idaho State College, and now Idaho State University, with roots stretching and reaching out to opportunities across the landscape of higher education and deep into the soil of the communities we serve. With strong, nimble, and dynamic roots, the oak tree will continue to stand as monarch. As we implement opportunity-aligned resourcing, we will stretch our roots in innovative ways, looking for opportunities that will supply us the rich nutrients we need to be resilient and thrive. I have heard from you these last several months, and we will focus our strategies and resources in the following areas over the next year: enrollment growth and student success. Idaho State University will grow, but we will do so intentionally and in sustainable ways so as to remember that recruiting is only part of enrollment management success. We must also continue to focus on student retention and improve our student completion rates. We are launching a comprehensive strategic enrollment management process that will draw on the expertise of staff, administrators, students, and faculty as we look for opportunities to expand our enrollment reach geographically in more economical ways for our students, and with bold recruiting and branding that reinforces our competitive advantages. We will also focus on the changing demographics of our state, including more effective programming, financial aid, and course delivery for our first-generation, non-traditional, and rural students to ensure their success. Students first and always. Number 2, academic and research focus. Idaho State University will continue growing its research enterprise. With talented faculty and staff, we will serve the research needs of our state, in industry, and government partners in ways that lead to economic diversity and prosperity. Our research portfolio will include opportunities for more graduate student experiences, as well as undergraduate research opportunities that serve as high-impact practices to increase student retention and meaningful post-graduation employment opportunities. Likewise, we will focus our academic efforts to develop societal, industry, and community-driven academic programs that have an impact on our economy and the lives of our students. We reaffirm our commitment and our position as the health sciences leader in the state, and add to that a very focused and comprehensive list of academic programs that serve our region, the state of Idaho, and the nation. Our academic programs will transform lives. Number 3, advancing and enhancing physical infrastructure. Our institution is currently completing a comprehensive campus master plan that will guide our physical infrastructure planning into the future. We have significant infrastructure needs, including priorities for life sciences and student housing. We will strategize innovative solutions to replacing, enhancing, and building new infrastructure, seeking state support, public-private partnerships, and philanthropy. We will use our A1 bonding status carefully to meet our infrastructure priorities. Our focus will be on our academic and research buildings, residence halls, infrastructure for our student athletes, and the creative arts. It will include projects on our Pocatello campus, as well as Idaho Falls, Twin Falls, and capitalize on our 23 acres in Meridian. Number 4, external relations and partnerships. Idaho State University's Grand Oak does not stand alone in the forest. We recognize the importance of partnering with our outstanding public and private sister institutions in the state by realizing efficiencies in academic programming, purposeful research, and workforce development. We will align our efforts with partners like the Idaho National Laboratory and other public and private industry partners in focusing on local and statewide economic impact and solution-oriented partnerships. We will work hard to partner with our state legislature and governor's office to always be cognizant of our public mission to put the needs of the great state of Idaho and its communities first. And we will embrace our Native American communities and consider them our friends and partners as we continue to better serve their tribal members. To our faith-based, community and charity-based friends, we will move proactively to partner with you for the good of our institutional members and the betterment of society. In addition, we will prepare to launch Idaho State University's first comprehensive capital campaign in 25 years, engaging with our alumni and institutional partners in providing ways for them to show their support as we demonstrate their generous philanthropic impact on our students, faculty, and entire institutional efforts. And number 5, employee engagement, empowerment, and connection. I close with our most important strategic priority, a rededication to Idaho State University's most valuable asset, the people who serve this institution and those we serve through mission-driven efforts. In all the iterations of this great institution for over 123 years, it has been the people who have not only had the vision of how this institution can serve the state, but how it can stretch its roots and strengthen its foundation. As an institution, we will invest in the people who are investing their time and efforts to make this institution great. We will focus on market, equity, and retention structures that develop and retain our great team. We will empower them through shared governance and shared responsibility to serve innovatively with the resources they need to be successful. Our impact begins with those who make Idaho State University exceptional. In conclusion, we stand at a pivotal moment in the history of Idaho State University. Our roots run deep, and our commitment to each other and the communities we serve is unwavering. As we look to the future, I see not just a continuation of our proud past, but the promise of a new era, an era of growth, innovation, and impact. This is our moment to strengthen the ties that bind us to one another and to the communities we call home. It is our time to push boundaries, embrace opportunities, expand our reach, and ensure that every student who walks through Swanson Arch or on any of our campuses, including virtual, has access to the best education, the most opportunities, and the brightest future. We are here to create a better future for everyone who comes to Idaho State University, a future where every student finds their path, every faculty and staff member feels empowered to innovate and lead, and every community we serve feels the profound impact of our work. Now is our time to come together with purpose and determination. Now is the time to leverage our collective strengths to build an even stronger Idaho State University, one that continues to grow, adapt, and serve with excellence. Together we will create new opportunities, forge new partnerships, and make a lasting difference. So Bengals, let's embrace this challenge and go boldly into our future for our students, for our communities, for Idaho, and beyond. Thank you, and go Bengals. Thank you. It is now my pleasure to introduce ISU Staff Council President Jenna Lords.
Thank you, President Wagner, and thank you for that amazing speech. The future at Idaho State University is very bright. We conclude milestone events at ISU with the singing of the university alma mater. The alma mater is part of the foundation of our institutional identity. Composed in 1948 by band director Wesley M. Harris, the alma mater has been sung at ISU celebrations for over 75 years. Please welcome the ISU Concert Choir and Treble Choir, conducted by Dr. Jeffrey Frankum, to perform the alma mater.
Thank you everyone for joining us for this exciting event today, and thank you President Wagner for accepting the call to lead us into the bold future. Have a good evening and go Bengals!